All right, let's talk about something real. Let me guess. You just spent your whole Saturday binging a 4-hour full stack course. You felt super productive, you were nodding along, you thought, I finally get this. But then Monday morning hits. You open up a blank code editor and just nothing. It's all gone. Sound familiar? Well, today we're going to fix that for good. This whole experience, it's so common it deserves a name. I call it the tutorial trap. It's probably the biggest hurdle for anyone learning to code. It's that tricky place where you feel like you're learning, but you're actually just spitting your wheels in the mud. And this right here is the classic symptom. I call it Monday amnesia. You saw the information, you watched it work perfectly on screen, but when it's your turn to actually perform, you can't even remember the very first step. Here's the hard truth. You haven't actually learned anything yet. You've just watched somebody else work. And this brings us to the core of the problem, a tricky thing our brain does called the illusion of competence. Following along with the video feels like you're making progress, right? But it's kind of the mental equivalent of watching someone else lift weights at the gym and then expecting to see muscles on your own arms. It just doesn't work that way. So why does this happen? I mean, why does all that information just seem to vanish from your brain? Well, it all boils down to the huge difference between passively consuming something and actively learning it. And when you see the actual science, wow, the difference is staggering. And look, here's the proof. The numbers really don't lie. According to what's known as the learning pyramid, just watching videos gives you a retention rate of about 5%. 5. But when you're actually doing the thing, struggling through the problems yourself, that number shoots up to 75%. That's not a small gap, that's a chasm. Honestly, this is the best way to think about it. Tutorials are like a GPS for code. Yeah, they'll get you from point A to point B, but you never actually build a mental map of the city. The moment that GPS turns off, the second the video ends, you are completely and totally lost. To become a real developer, you've got to throw out the GPS and start drawing your own map. So how do we do that? How do we force our brains to start drawing that map? I've got this personal rule that I give to all my students. I'm not going to lie, it's tough. It can be frustrating, but it absolutely works. I call it the 48-hour blackout rule. Here it is, plain and simple. For one entire weekend, your new rule is a 48-hour video blackout. That's it. No tutorials, no step-by-step video guides, no watching someone else solve the problem for you. It's just going to be you, your code editor, and the official documentation. You are going from being a passenger to being the driver. Okay, so here are the ground rules. You are absolutely allowed to code. In fact, you have to. You are encouraged to use Google for specific questions, to read the official documentation, and to search Stack Overflow. But what's banned? Hitting play on any tutorial video. Why? Because reading documentation forces your brain to actually think and construct the solution. A video just hands it to you on a silver platter. Now, I'm not just going to throw you into the deep end without a life raft. To really succeed during this blackout, you're going to need the right set of tools. And this isn't about memorizing stuff, it's about building a system for true understanding. All right, so when you inevitably get stuck, and trust me, you will get stuck, this is your secret weapon, the Feynman Technique. Step 1, pinpoint the exact thing you don't understand. Step 2, try to explain it out loud in the simplest terms possible, like you're teaching a 5-year-old or, a rubber duck on your desk. If you can't do it, that's your sign you don't really get it yet. So you go back to the docs, fill in that gap, and you try again. This process of struggling, that's where the magic actually happens. That feeling of frustration, that mental block, that headache you might start to feel, that's not a sign that you're failing. That is the physical sensation of learning. It's your brain forging new neural pathways. You are literally getting smarter. So you have to embrace that struggle. Now let's talk about the big elephant in the room. AI. Of course you can use it, but there is one critical rule. Your goal is to use AI as a wise tutor who guides you with questions, not as a vending machine that just spits out the answer. So what's the difference? Well, a passive bad prompt is asking the AI to do the work for you. Write me the code for a login page. But an active, really good prompt shows your work first. Hey, here's the code I wrote for a login page. Can you please explain why it's failing? See the difference? You're making the AI work for your brain, not the other way around. So this all brings us to the challenge I'm officially laying down for you, right here, right now. It's time to put all this theory into practice and really fundamentally change the way you learn to code. It all comes down to a crucial mindset shift. Watching tutorials isn't really work. It's entertainment. It feels good, it feels productive, but it's passive. Actually building something, solving real problems, designing systems, that's engineering. It's an active, creative process. So here it is, your mission for this weekend. First, pick one small, totally manageable project. A simple to-do list or a weather app is absolutely perfect. And then build it. Your only tools are the ones we talked about, the official docs, Google, and most importantly, that amazing brain of yours. And I want you to remember this. 10 lines of code that you struggled with, that you debugged, that you wrote all by yourself are worth more than 10 hours of passively watching a video. Why? Because those 10 lines, they belong to you forever. So the choice is yours. Are you going to keep consuming, or are you ready to start creating?